Have you ever wondered what steroids really do to the human body? Now, you might think that steroid use mostly only applies to professional athletes. However, the majority of individuals using these substances are actually recreational athletes, that everyday person you might see working out at the gym, with a high number of those being weightlifters and bodybuilders who use them to improve overall muscle size, strength and personal appearance. So today we're going to discuss what steroids are, how they work, and what they can do to your body, the good and the bad. Like, can they really cause a guy's testicles to shrink, a woman to grow hair in funny places? And are there any more serious long-term health consequences associated with steroid use? We have a lot of cool things to discuss, so let's do this. So first, what are steroids? Well, there are many different types of steroids. The steroids we are referring to in this video are often called anabolic steroids or androgenic steroids, and sometimes even called anabolic androgenic steroids, but I'll refer to them as androgenic steroids from here on out. These are different than, say, like prednisone, which is an anti-inflammatory steroid that you may have heard about that is used to treat inflammatory conditions. But these androgenic steroids that we are focusing on are used to increase muscular size and athletic performance. And these are synthetic variations of the main male androgen, testosterone. And an androgen is a hormone that promotes the development of masculine characteristics. And again, testosterone being the primary androgen produced in males, females do produce some testosterone in the ovaries and even in the adrenal gland, specifically the outer portion of the adrenal gland called the adrenal cortex. However, the overall production is much less than in males, and since these androgenic steroids are synthetic variations of testosterone, let me quickly explain the process of testosterone production because this will help us to have an even better understanding of how the steroids work and even help us to understand some of the side effects. And this actually starts in the brain, in this structure at the central core of the brain, referred to as the hypothalamus. Now, we seem to talk a lot about the hypothalamus in our videos lately, but regardless, just to orient you, this is a sagittal cut, so I cut through the midline here, and if you were to go straight back, like right between your eyebrows, you'd run into this hypothalamus here. Now, the hypothalamus will secrete a hormone called gonadotropin-releasing hormone, and just take a moment to think about that name gonadotropin. Gonad implies that it is going to have an effect on the gonads, the testes, or the ovaries, and tropins are just hormones that cause other hormones to be released, which we're going to see in just a second. So the hypothalamus releases this gonadotropin-releasing hormone, and it actually releases it into these tiny blood vessels that travel from the hypothalamus directly to this structure here called the pituitary gland, specifically the anterior portion of the pituitary gland. And these blood vessels are referred to as the hypophyseal portal veins. Hypophysis is just another name for the pituitary gland, hence the name hypophyseal portal veins. So now this gonadotropin-releasing hormone, that came from the hypothalamus, is in the pituitary gland, and this activates certain cells within the anterior pituitary to secrete to other hormones called follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So now you can see this connection of how the gonadotropin-releasing hormone cause other hormones to be released, and we are mostly going to focus on the luteinizing hormone for now, and come back to the follicle-stimulating hormone in just a little bit. But this luteinizing hormone is released from the pituitary gland into the bloodstream, and it will eventually travel to the testes. And when it gets to the testes, it causes these cells in the testes, called Leydig cells, to secrete testosterone into the bloodstream. So that may have felt like there were quite a few steps there, but let's just step back and summarize and simplify this a little bit. The hypothalamus secretes gonadotropin-releasing hormone, which tells the pituitary to release luteinizing hormone, which then just tells the testes to secrete the testosterone. So, voila, we've secreted this testosterone. We're all done, right? Well, there's one other important point we need to make here. We can't just keep secreting testosterone into the bloodstream and allow the levels to just keep getting higher and higher. Eventually, it needs to stop or shut off. I'll catch some of you down in the comments, and if not, I'll see you in the next video.